Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the EPAN to the UKV pod. I'm your host, Josh Carpenter, joined by my co-host, Drew Pitzer. Today, we're excited to welcome a special guest, a basketball legend, retired Bellarmine head coach, Scott Davenport. Coach, we're super excited to have you, man. We appreciate your time. Super excited to talk to you.
Well, I'm the luckiest when I get to be here. Now, I've done research. I pride myself. We got some West Virginia ties, right? All right, so we're going to go back. I've had some West Virginia battles.
I watched a vlog last night of your all's, I think it was your last trip in Morgantown.
So far back before that. So 2005, I'm an assistant at Louisville, and it's Pittsnoggle, and it's the epic game in Albuquerque. Oh, I'm the assistant at Louisville at that time. And Coach Bila, it was incredible. Okay, so you fast forward, and at Bellarmine, we play his son, who's coaching up in Albany. And the day before, we get a call, and he says, "Coach, I'm going to fly down with my staff because I want them to see your team play." So he's at Michigan. They come in a private plane. We take care of them, treat them like royalty, behind the bench, the whole bit. I come out, and we're in warm-ups, and one of my assistants came in and said, Coach Beeline, they're all there, come out. And I go out there, and he's got them now standing on the sideline, taking his coaching staff through our warm-ups. And I'm like, Coach, and he kind of goes crazy. He says, "See, look, there he is." And I'm like, I was an assistant. Well, this was like 15. And he's like, "Now they've seen you." He said, "You're the biggest picture in my basement." And I look at him, I'm like, "What are you talking about?" His son was on that West Virginia team, was at the absolute top of his jump shot. Perfect form, like over his shoulders, me sitting on the U of L bench, leaning forward. It's like I'm in the shot. He goes, "You're in my basement. I look at you every single day." So then you advance forward. Coach Huggins comes. I go back to when Coach Huggins was at Cincinnati, recruited a guard I had named Dewan Wheat when I was a high school coach. Then I had those epic battles being a Louisville assistant against Coach Huggins there. He invites us to Morgantown to play. And in 2022, when we win the conference tournament championship and we're in a battle with the NCAA, the three greatest, most loyal supporters of our cause was Bob Huggins, Matt Painter, and Tubby Smith. And it shows you about relationships in basketball. But Bob Huggins, they were the loudest in the room. Matt Painter, Tubby Smith, Bob Huggins. And to this day, then we go back and play him when he's gone, and I meet with him before the game just to thank him again. So it's interesting to be bordering states and have that many from 2005, now 20 years later, relationships.
Man, it's so crazy. That's why it's so important, I think, how you handle each stop along your journey. Because I mean, if you have humility and you're a genuine human being and you do things the right way, that's stuff that people always remember. Those little things, how you treat people, how you applied yourself. I mean, that's the most important thing is building relationships, genuinely.
It is. And I think athletics does it in a very, very special way. And through that, and that's I'm not a coach being the old coach, done like Portal, done like this, that, but those relationships, in my opinion, aren't being formed as well. I'll give you an example. We took unbelievable pride at Bellarmine. One of the current assistants at Bellarmine right now, Al Davis, was a point guard for us. He's from Colorado Springs. He came to Bellarmine, and there were 7 men in his wedding. 5 of them were Bellarmine team. One of them was his twin brother. 5 of them were Bellarmine teammates from Indianapolis, Maysville, Kentucky, Louisville, Goshen, Kentucky, and I left out one. But there's 5 players that he never knew until the moment he stepped on campus, and they're in his wedding. Now, the tragedy is he lost his mother 3 weeks before he got married. So at a very special day in his life, a very glorious, happy day, it's obviously filled with unbelievable emotion. And who's standing up there next to him? 5 teammates
Yeah.
that he never knew till he walked on that campus. That's the parts of athletics that I think people in the room making the decisions do not realize.
Yeah, because you're around them more than your family. I mean, that becomes your
They are
family.
family at that
Yeah.
point. I mean, there's a great quote from Coach Church. I don't know if Kelly Church, he coaches at Hedgesville. He says basketball is just a excuse for relationships because it really does just make you have to become family because you're going through the best of the times and the worst of times with a single family, and that turns into a brotherhood, man. I love that.
Well, the 20-hour rule followed to the letter of the law. They're going to be around their teammates, you know, much more than, I mean, if you say 4 hours a day, okay, that's 1/6 of the day. The rest of that day, they're with teammates. And people would ask me, how does Bellarmine go from winning 9 games in 2005, and then a national championship in 11, Division II, 4 Final Fours, then you go to an ASUN championship, never been done in Division I with a school transition in history. And people would say at clinics, how do you do that? How? And they wanted me to give some X and O, this and that. It wasn't. The greatest recruiters in our program were our players. Now, you go into the corporate world, if people want to join your team in the corporate world, your team's going to get really good. If your employees are the greatest recruiters and people want to join your team, then that's going to be a key. Well, it's so true in sports. It's unbelievable. But the greatest recruiters in our program are our players. Yeah, we evaluated talent and all those kind of things, and we watch things we think other people didn't watch and put priority on them, et cetera. But the greatest recruiters in that program are our players.
Yeah, and I think kids are smart enough to see they can see through certain coaches if they're like a car salesman mentality. They can see through those things quick. So it's important to be genuine, be yourself, and build those real relationships. And you can't cheat that process.
We put more stock on campus relationships, visits. They spend so much more time with the players because that's who they're going to spend time with. You know, and we've had players, I confess, we've had players who say, Coach, you got to do what you got to do, man. He's one of us. We got to get him. Coach, this kid's unbelievable. Conversely, we've had to say, Coach, no way. No way. Coach, he's the wrong reasons, this and that. And we put a lot of stock because we want players who want to become us. A player who wants you to become him in a team setting, it's not going to work very well. You go back as far as a Coach Crum, a Coach Pitino, very, very, very similar in the way the game should be played, but taught it totally different. But the bottom line, there was a right way and a wrong way. Well, you know, in forming a program, everybody uses the word culture. And it's okay. Again, right way, or there's different ways to be successful. Use your word culture. That's okay. And we did. We framed everything around the word program because by definition to us, that meant we had a plan for you, a plan academically, a plan athletically, and as times change, a plan socially. A lot of stock put in on bringing people in. People talk about NIL. Yes, we participate in NIL, but we also participated in paid internships with major corporations. Manna, Norton Healthcare here is the third biggest employer in the city of Louisville, in the state of Kentucky. Morgan Stanley. ISCO is a irrigation supply company that's on 3 continents based right here in Louisville. So we did these huge internships. And what did that do? They got paid. They were internships. Got college credit. That's their internships. But they also had opportunities. Graduating Bellarmine on a Saturday, if you have professional opportunities in basketball, great. But on Monday, you had an $8,000 a year job in a field you studied and interned in for 2 years. So we did it to be successful in part of a program, academically, athletically, and socially.
That's the way to do it. And there's a huge difference between, like me and Drew talk about, a good team year in and year out. It might come, it might go, and a program, a great program that lasts, that
So
always lasts.
last night, there's 450 players in the NBA on rosters. 360 of them are active and 60. Okay. Well,
The 1% of the 1%.
30% of those 450 are international players. And I always use this, and we talk about the portal, we talk about NIL. And I gave a corporate talk to some incredible leaders the other day. And I gave them a pop quiz. And I said, they want to know questions. They want to know about the transfer portal. They want to know about NIL. And I asked them, I said, okay, then I'm going to answer a question with a question. June of 2000 was the last published NCAA census, not NAIA, not junior college, NCAA Division I, Division II, Division III, male, female. How many athletes? Over 540,000.
140,000. Okay.
Division I, II, III, men and
Of
women.
all three, all three classes. That makes sense.
Okay. So when you talk about these things, we're talking about a very minute group. Well, it's the same way in the NBA with 360 active players, 450 on a roster. We're talking about, let's go Division I men's basketball. Let's not go international. Let's not go Division II, Division III, which I respect them all. Division I basketball, there's over 5,600 Division I men's players. We're down to 360, of which a third of them are international.
It's the 1% of the 1%.
It is.
Yeah. Yeah.
Why not? We had a player who was our third leading scorer, graduating Bellarmine in 2012. He won a national championship. He played 11 years overseas. The last 2 years was making 7 figures.
That's what I like to hear.
Okay. We visited 29 foreign countries. He didn't sit in a small little rental efficiency apartment. He educated. He had an incredible career financially. He won. He was the third leading scorer on a Division II team, but he won. Well, but the key, he's now 35 years old, but he always had a Bellarmine degree in his pocket. He has banked money. He's invested. He has a home. He has returned, right? He lives halfway between his parents and his in-laws. Everybody's happy. He has a career. He has no financial burden at all. So his career decisions are about being happy, putting his family first. This is what it should be. I spoke to some 265 eighth graders the other day, and they were leaders. The public school system here has 97,000 students, 265 eighth grade leaders. And I opened their eyes with my first statement. If they work to the age of 65, which a lot of people retire, they're going to work past the year 2077.
80 years old.
Let's take my last class at Bellarmine that were freshmen last year. They're going to work somewhere in that year 2065 to 2068. What's it going to be like? See, this should be important. Think of that, 2065. They were 18 last year, so we're talking 40 years, they'll be 68. 2065.
Mm.
I mean,
It's the facts that, like, when you say that, it's because, we're 10 years older. We're both 28. So we look at that. Ours is like 2055. What in 2055 would
what's it
Jock
going to
is
be
talking
like?
about? Yeah, with AI and new technology, with basically robotics, what is there going to be any sort of trade type jobs other than I'm a barber, so I know I'm always going to be cool. But there's also other things that, like anything that has to deal with information technology, like that's all getting automized, So it's
Well,
like,
one of the great things is when you give them a reference point. 27, the iPhone came to us. Okay, we're talking 18 years ago. We're talking 2.5 times that. Facebook was created in a college dorm room.
yeah, it was.
I mean, when you see things that they can relate to, Twitter, Facebook, the iPhone. Okay, so you say, okay, that was 18 years ago. So let's go just 18 years. Let's go to 2043. They're going to be in the prime of their life. Well, okay, let's make the same amount of type changes. You mentioned AI. This is what it's going to be. So I think our job should be prepare them, and what I use in recruiting. I want college to be 4 of the greatest years of your life,
Right.
but I want it to prepare you for the next 40 years of your life. Attention to detail, passion, enthusiasm. It should prepare you for the next 40 years of your life, but it's college. It should be 4 of the greatest years of your life. Think of that. I mean, and to convince an 18-year-old that is very difficult.
They can't see that far.
Well, no, they can't. A college coach asked me to watch his team practice. I watched them 2 days last week. And he said, what's your take? I said, well, you kept referencing November the 4th. You might as well talk about 20 years from now. I mean, you could just see in their face, they're like, oh, yeah, it's November 4th. They ain't worried, but we're worried about the next drill. But like I say, we wanted players to have a plan. When I keep referencing program, we wanted them to have a plan. Those plans are going to change. Injuries occur, things at home change, all kinds of things change, but you've got to have a plan and that's what college should be about. So we put a lot of stock. Bellarmine's a tremendous institution, and I coached there for 20 years, 40 semesters. We never had a team GPA below 3.0, a team GPA.
That's
Never.
unheard of.
It is unheard of. And what happened as momentum grew and the more we talked about that,
More boosted it.
nobody wanted to be the class.
No, you didn't want to be the one that didn't do it.
But what happened about it is I'm a believer. If you have pride, you have pride. You're not just going to walk in a locker room and have pride. So if you're going to do great, and you're going to be great in all things, and that's what we really, was I'm just crazy over the top about little things. Yes. I lost my father on Halloween Day when I was 9 years old. My mother was a superstar with a one-room schoolhouse in West Virginia. They relate Kentucky, in a rural Kentucky, a one-room schoolhouse. And she ran her own business for 43 years with a one-room schoolhouse education.
I love it.
And people say, well, why are you so adamant about all these little things? Because teachers, coaches, principals, counselors in school, athletic directors, administrators, they saved my life. They saved my life. I mean, there's no question about it. So I've always and will always take that role incredibly important. I mean, why was I so lucky? It was a game of basketball.
Every day.
Well, it's a game of basketball.
Yeah.
I've been to 14 funerals in the last 41 months. Players that were 2 years older than me, 2 years younger. And it's a very blue-collar, tough neighborhood. Why was I so lucky? Well, I was a part of basketball. It was bigger than me. And it brought out things in me that would have never occurred. And I'm thankful to those coaches. And then as your career advances and you're influenced by the likes of athletic directors like a Bill Olson and Tom Church, they were the 2 ADs at U of L, or a Pitino and a Crum. I mean, can you imagine?
Two legends.
No, I mean, I'll confess, was approached in the month of June by she's very successful here in this town, a publisher. And we've outlined a book. And one of the outlines of the book is very simple. How were you influenced by those people? Think of who they are. They were looking for endorsements. You open up the back cover of a book and it'll be an endorsement by somebody. And they reached out, and it's sitting right here to my left, and an endorsement by Rick Pitino. Here, he's getting ready. He's one of the top 5 teams in the country. Right?
Coach of all time, too, in my opinion.
No, I mean, but his team right now. He's
He's
No, he is. He's on our staff at Louisville, and this first staff was in the Pitino era. Evan Willard, Villanova, Mick Cronin, UCLA, South. Rick Pitino's the head coach. So at 5:40 every morning, left my house. The last thing I did, there was a glass jar. I took 2 quarters. There's no online
No.
newspaper. This is 2001.
You had to get them from
I
the
picked
store.
up 2 quarters, the corner of Arthur Street and Lee Street. I stopped, bought newspaper. 10 minutes. It took me 7 minutes to get to school. At 5:50 at my office, 3 sections to the newspaper. It's Kevin Willard, Mick Cronin, and myself. You don't think we talked basketball every day?
Every day.
Man, we're just waiting. We're waiting until, all right, guys, come on. And it was coach. And my office was next to the conference room, and off we went. Well, you think about that. Kevin was 25 years old. Mick was 30. I was 45. Coach is 3.5 years older than me. So we could kind of relate. So the other day, they reached out to me and they said, we want you to see this. And it's Scotty, back in the day, was what we used to call a basketball Benny. He lived, breathed, and bled for the players in the game and entirely devoted everything to his basketball dreams. He's been a cornerstone of Bellarmine basketball and beloved figure throughout the Louisville community. And you get that from Rick Pitino when he's a week away from exhibition games, full practice. You get that from him, and he's coaching a top 5 team in the country. And you're like, I mean, I went out and ran 4 miles that day like Rocky. I mean, I was running like a
Fired
crazy
up.
man.
There we go.
It just shows the relationships, how important the genuine relationships are.
Roy Williams also, he said you were the corniest man alive. What did he mean by that? Because obviously you guys had that little banter back and forth, but that quote was interesting to me.
I didn't read that.
And you never saw that quote? It's on Wikipedia. Yeah, he said that. He said, I quote, I'll pull it up for you real quick.
Never seen this.
That's awesome.
So it said, so when I pull this up, sorry, my camera's off right now. Roy Williams declared himself the corniest man in college basketball, but he better make room for the new guy. That is what he said in 2020 on an SI article.
Never knew that. This news to me.
There you go. News from me.
Played them. So, okay, we played them at Louisville in the Elite Eight, my first year, 96. And then we played them. There was a game. The next year, the Elite Eight teams would play again. And we played them in Chicago. And it would go on and on and on from there. We would play them in Louisville. We played them one year on December the 3rd at 9 o'clock ESPN game. Well, the game's not going to be over till after 11. It's December 23rd.
Mm-hmm.
And there's an ice storm in Louisville. I don't get home till like 1:30. Wake my family up at 8 o'clock. And he still makes fun of me because we went to a Cinnabon, and that's 1996. We've had Cinnabons on Christmas Eve ever since. Now we're talking 30 some odd years later. So the funny thing was the first half in that game, Coach Crum's the head coach, we did not commit a turnover. Not one. Zero. I've never seen this in my life. We have our way of it. They storm the court. It's pretty partying crowd. It's December 23rd. It's 11:30 at night.
Oh, they're feeling good.
But he's never let me forget it. I mean, he's made more fun. I did not know that was in there though.
Oh, you're going to shoot me a
great.
text or something. Let him know.
My God.
That's great.
I'll
Coach,
tell you
when
what though.
Go ahead.
Are those guys? He's pure basketball.
100%.
Pure, and that's what I admire. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
When you step back and think about it, do you have these self-reflection moments where you're like, I really coached under 2 Naismith Hall of Famers, one from the John Wooden tree, and then one's just still a legend to this day. Like, do you have those times where you just self-reflect back on the journey? You're like, man, I was a lucky guy.
Well, it goes so much further back than that for me. Middle school, high school. I don't know if you're aware. I'm a student at the University of Louisville, and they didn't even have a student center. And there was just like there was a cafeteria. There was really no student gathering area. So I lived at home, only lived 5 blocks away. For me to pay when we had no money at a dorm room was stupid. Well, if I had a class at 10 and got out at 10:50 and didn't have class again at 1, what am I going to do?
Hang on.
We have no student center. Well, I know, but I wasn't a frat guy, wasn't a partier, wasn't a drinker, all that. Well, I would just ease over to where Crawford Gym was. Well, 12 o'clock to 1 o'clock every day. I don't care if it was Wesley Unseld, Daryl Griffith. I don't care who it was. If they still had the building and Donovan Mitchell came back, they went 12 to 1. Nobody was playing. Coaches and professors had a little run at 12 to 1. Well, I just kind of hung out. Well, one day, they only had 10, 12, 13 guys playing. Well, one day they only had 10 and a guy had to go give a makeup test. So this one player goes, "Hey, young man, you want to play? We only got 9." I had a sweatshirt on, a T-shirt underneath, blue jeans, Chuck Taylors. Pull the sweatshirt off, jump in the pickup game. 15 minutes later, he goes, "Young man, did you play basketball in high school?" I said, "Yes, sir. I played at Iroquois." He goes, "You played for Coach Peffer?" I said, "Yes, sir, I did." And it was not a powerhouse basketball program by any chance. He goes, "Well, you ought to play on our JV. We have a JV team." And I said, "What do I do?" He said, "You go see Coach Jones. You go see the head trainer, Mr. Bible, and his wife's the school nurse, Miss Bible, and you get a physical, and you go try out for the team." I do it. I'm a 2-year walk-on JV player. Well, that gentleman that got me out of that pickup game, that got me in the pickup game, was Bill Olson, who was a longtime assistant to Coach Crum, became the AD. So he was there 57 to 96. He became the AD. That one site, you don't think one person can change a life?
Really can.
Okay, so he does that. If you don't think that's impactful, let's go fast forward. I'm the JV coach at Ballard High School, and we've got a varsity guard named Doug Olson. That's Coach Olson's son.
Full circle.
Coach Olson named his son after a player who he coached who went on to become a orthodontist. The head coach of Bellarmine right now is Doug Davenport. He's named after Doug Olson, who played for me at Ballard. That's the third Doug named after coach's sons.
That's
That's
awesome.
amazing.
You
That's
don't
why it's
think
so important, man. It's for
but the
each
point,
step.
one person can impact a life. And the smartest people, and this is a challenge for kids right now, wear people out that want to help you. It is a great sign of strength. I stole a quote from Pat Riley when he was coaching the Miami Heat. If a player thinks you're doing something to him instead of for him, trade him immediately.
Mhm.
So every player we ever signed, I said, I want you to always understand everything we do is for you, not to you. If I asked you, you got to make 300 threes after practice. You got to make a decision, don't you?
Yeah, I do.
What's your decision, Josh? What is? Are you mad at me? I'm picking on you, or I'm trying to make you better?
You're
Trying to make you
expecting
better
great
for sure.
great things of me, so you want me to be in the gym to put up shots.
Okay, but what if you've got 10 people telling you what you want to hear, and I'm in that ear telling you what you need to hear?
You're gonna
That's a
think he's doing
challenge.
it to you.
I did. Yeah,
But
that makes sense.
the reason I'm so adamant about that, because it probably saved my life. I go to those people. I pray for my former teammates. I think, and I get in my car, and I'm the luckiest guy in the world. How lucky am I?
I say that
If you
every
look at
day.
the big picture, how fortunate that you get to, not you have to.
Mm.
That's a big mess.
I give a corporate talk. What's a vocation? That's a job. A
Like a big
vocation is a job by definition. I never had one. Never had one. I coached 47 years. My mother died in 2008. And she said, if you really work hard, she goes, you
I
might
read
get a real job, make something out of yourself. I've never had one. I've had an advocation. Okay. What have I been an advocate of? Young people, because there were people who advocated for me, who made sacrifices for me. And it's really strange. I had them here and I just put them back in a storage bin. I made the 9th grade basketball team as an 8th grader, and that was big time. Now, there was only 4 of us. That's big time.
that is
Mhm.
big time.
The New York Knicks won the NBA championship. They had a player, Dave DeBusschere, and he wrote a book, and the book's entitled The Diary of a Champion, the New York Knicks. And what he did, he just documented in a diary every day of their whole season. 82 game plus playoffs. Well, when I made the team in the 8th grade, I read the book. So as a 9th grader, I bought a spiral notebook. And 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th, 2 years as the walk-on JV player at Louisville, I have those diaries.
Wow.
That's awesome. That's great.
It's funny. I've got sons 38 and 40, and they make fun. Look at your penmanship. Look at your grammar. You misspelled this. You did. And I wrote them from the heart, but I got them out. And when you do reflect back and you think of teachers, coaches, principals, and then you speed on to a Coach Crum, Coach Pitino, like you mentioned, there's so many other people along that route that are incredible. I mean, it's if this book comes to fruition, the title will be very simple. The luckiest coach ever.
That's
Yeah.
right.
That and honestly, I mean, that's kind of what you basically emphasize. I think the way that you can relate to your players, even stretch past the NIL and what you're speaking on, like putting kids onto internships and creating avenues for them and program and culture. I truly believe you want to build a good program because the culture will follow that. So that's you have to have the program to even have the culture.
All right, let me give you and this is just about success. 13. We had signed a player locally named Max Clemens. He played at a local high school. He was facing his 3rd knee surgery. September, his junior year in college. And he comes in my office and says, Coach, I need to talk to you. And Max is very, very, very sharp and very driven. And he's like, Coach, I just honestly, and I've not said this publicly, so I'm going to let you guys have a little scoop. He's like, Coach. He's like, Coach. And I said, Max, what's wrong? Come on, talk to me. He said, Coach, I can't do this. I said, I understand. I'm here for you, son. He's literally in tears. I said, Max, I want you to go to class. You got class coming up in 10 minutes. I want you to sprint back in his office the moment you get out of that class. He looked at me like, what? I said, just go to class. Get back over here. I raced down the hall. I go to compliance. And we're Division II at the time. I said, okay, I was at Louisville. I'm very familiar with this. I just want to document we're good to go. Every school in Division I, II, III pays into a special assistance fund. It could be used for a player who loses an immediate family member. You're allowed to transport them home and back. It goes all the way down. It could be school supplies, school clothes, whatever they need, but you have to document. Well, one of the provisions, and I knew this from being at Louisville, if a player has a career-ending injury, the special assistance fund will pay for his schooling to end it, but it won't count against your school scholarship limit.
That's sweet. I
But
had
he
no
can
idea.
never play again. He can never play again. Max runs back in my office. And I said, Max, I walked over now. I'm not behind my desk. I literally put my arm around him. I said, Max, what did I tell you when I recruited you? He said, Coach, he started laughing. He said, you told me 8 million things. I said, no, I told you I'd be there the rest of your life. He goes, yes, sir, you did. And I said, Max, so here's what's going to happen. We're going to back you. He was scared to death his school's over. Hey, we're Division II. You got 10 scholarships that can be divided up.
Yeah.
There's no NIL can just pay it. I said, Max, here's what the deal is. And he's like, Coach, you did. You told me that. So we're going to be the rest of your life. Last spring, Max is 32 years old, turning 33 years old. He is the founder of Prime and Alani, the 2 energy hydration drinks.
Well, he's a founder of Prime.
Yes.
Wow. That's
he sold Alani. He sold Alani last spring for $1.8 billion.
Brother,
Seriously.
what?
It's insane.
He's 33 years old. He's 33 years old.
It's amazing.
So when the news broke nationally on a Friday morning, I sent him a text. And 20 seconds later, he responded and said, Coach, thank you so much.
Yeah.
That's awesome,
He's
dude.
33 years old and has no way, shape, or form thinks he's made it. Now, here's a guy that we backed with his scholarship because I looked at him and I said, we will be here. But I told every player that I will be here the rest of your life. And see, to me, that's when you're applying what people did for you throughout your life.
Of course.
Like I said, you did it for me. So it's an opportunity to give back and keep doing that. And I'll highlight Max Clemens, but there's stories I could just sit here and we could talk hours about players. I got one last night. He got a promotion in the financial world. And I received a text. And he's like, Coach. And you know who hired him? A former teammate. And I sent them both a little group text. I just said the word team, exclamation point. That's all. That's all I
great.
said.
I love him.
See, but to me, these are the great things about not just college sports. One of the greatest things I've ever done in my life as a coach. 1988, we won the state championship in the state of Kentucky, and there's only one champion. We don't have classes. Forever, it was Kentucky, West Virginia, and Hawaii were the only ones, and Indiana the only ones. And 4 years ago, through some relationships, one of the players kept saying, Coach, let's get all the guys together. It's okay. We planned it out like 2 months. And the Wednesday before we had it on Friday, we're having it at my house. I get a text. He says, Coach, come on, man, you got to reach out to everybody. I said, what's up? We're ready. We got food ordered. My wife, she's ready. He goes, no girlfriends, no wives. I said, what? You're going to make us look, you're not like, he said, Coach, hear me out. None of their girlfriends or wives had gone to high school with us. And they said, Coach, 9 o'clock, man, they'll want to leave. They'll say, come on, I don't know anybody. I want to leave. Well, we had Alan Houston, Executive Vice President of Knicks. We had players who work here locally, high school principals, assistant principal, high school coaches, college coaches, you name it. They got to my house at 6 o'clock. No girlfriends, no wives. I gave them a DVD of the state championship game, but I had laid the radio broadcast because none of that was back then.
So you put it together. You actually combine them.
Laid it on top of it and gave me 20. You would have thought I gave them a Mercedes. They were crazy, right? They left my house at 2:38 a.m. in the morning.
That's why they
how
wanted
long
to
they
bring no
stayed.
wives.
There was emotion. Now, they did ask for 2 requests on that Wednesday night. I said, okay, I'm going to take care of this. No girlfriends, no wives. What else? And they said, well, Coach, we don't want to take you to get offended. I said, come on, talk to me. They said, well, every game you went across the street to the fruit market, you bought 10 oranges, you cut them into quarters, and at halftime, we had 40 orange slices every single game. I said, yeah, I know. They go, Coach, come on, man, we're almost 50. We need adult beverages.
I thought they were going to ask for
So
oranges
our
again.
night was pretty good. I said, okay, I got you, man. I swear I started to put out just orange slices. I started to just put out trays of orange and give them nothing else. But
Yeah,
one of the greatest things I've ever done as a coach because they celebrated each other. So the next year, we had so much fun. We brought the Bellarmine 2011 into our house. Every one of them met their wife at Bellarmine. So they all came.
that's
And
awesome.
these are the things, think when you truly build a program, you build it so much more. Like you brought it up, that 20 hours a week, they're with you, but they're really together with each other all the time.
It is.
Yeah.
It's facts.
And it all leads back to genuine relationships. And that's why you treat the guy on the street the same as your boss, because you never know where that one small
Treat the
thing will take
janitor
your
like the
whole
CEO.
life. You have to.
Why
You
not
have
open the
to.
door for somebody?
You have
Why
to.
not open the door for somebody? Why not open a door for somebody? Why not walk out of a classroom? And I pop quiz on this all the time. If you walk out of that classroom and just tap that professor on the shoulder and say, thank you very much. I timed it one time. I timed it 10 times with a stopwatch and it took 1.8 seconds. I averaged them. So when I tell a player, look, don't question me on anything. I'm this exact. If you walk out and just walk off that bus, we bust everywhere. What if you walk off that bus and say, thanks, Mr. Ben? Thanks, Mr. Ben. What about in a restaurant? What about to a student manager? One of the greatest things that'll go down that I'll be most proud of in my lifetime as a coach, 4 years ago, and it was my son's idea 100%. We started the Davenport Family Scholarship. It's over $61,000 a year to go to Bellarmine. The Davenport Family Scholarship. Do you all have any clue who that benefits?
Have no clue. No.
The Davenport Family Scholarship, there's 4 a year. It's for our student managers.
That's awesome.
Wow. That's different.
Well, I get items. We have an event Wednesday of Kentucky Derby Week called the Davenport Derby Dash. Last year we grossed almost $350,000, but we get items like that. We had one year 1% of a thoroughbred racehorse. This is Wednesday night. The horse was in the Derby on Saturday night. Somebody donated that. It went for $60,000. We have items that John Calipari, Rick Pitino, we've had items donated by you name it. Incredible. Notre Dame has donated us items. Oh my gosh, I just lost his name. Not Micah. Who's before Micah? Older than me, the coach. So with the
We're
Hawks
young
right now.
guys. Bray?
God bless.
No, Mike Bray.
Yeah, Mike Bray.
Mike Bray.
I
called Mike Bray.
I
Mike Bray 'cause I knew Mike Bray since I could, all three of us. And I said, Coach, I need a favor. He goes, what do you need? And I explained the scholarship. And he goes, do you realize how bad you're making all of us look? We make a lot more than you, and you're doing this for your managers?
Yeah.
And he goes, Tino Calipari and me, we ought to be ashamed of ourselves. He goes, what do you need? I said, well, I'd like an auction item for Notre Dame football tickets. He goes, oh, I've already got them, November 5th. Well, I don't know the Notre Dame schedule. And I'm like, well, this is, now you got to understand, this is like in March. I said, okay, Coach, who's November 5th? It was Notre Dame Clemson, 4 club seats. That's who he gave for.
Wow.
They went for
a hefty margin.
They went for 22,000.
There we go.
But it's a scholarship fund. So it's a scholarship fund for our managers. And I asked my son when he came with this idea, and I said, Doug, where'd you get this? He goes, Dad, 100 times a day, you use the words, it takes everybody. Okay, let's be different. Let's take care of these managers. There was like I mentioned, the Jefferson County Public Schools. That's the Louisville Public Schools. There's 97,000 students. The former superintendent, he retired last year. 97,000 students and employees. And you got to take them all. It's public school. You don't have a choice. And I worked for his father. His father was a head coach at VCU. Well, he goes, this job's not really tough. I said, are you kidding me? You got 97,000. You have 17,000 employees. He goes, see, you just got to remember where I came from. As an undergraduate student, you know what his background was? He was Bob Knight's student manager at IU.
Prepared him for the rest of his life.
Polio. His name's not Dr. Dr. Martin Polio. He said, this isn't tough. I worked 4 years under Coach Knight. I can handle this.
Prepared him for the rest of his life.
Yeah, so my point is, when Doug came up with this idea and we do this for the managers, I didn't want people just to get involved and say, okay, here, I'll donate, get out of it. This now has become a Derby tradition with 320 people they line up. We sell out. It's incredible. The amount of people but it's not like, okay, here, I'm tired of doing this. They enjoy doing it. The managers are there. The players are due. And, let's. That's
what matters, man.
These managers are a big part of it.
No, that's absolute facts. Gosh, I wish I didn't have to cut hair today because I would really be able to yap all day. That's an insane story when you really think about you set up a scholarship foundation for your student man. I've never heard of that. And what's crazy about that is I feel like that is publicity. That is national news. I'm surprised like ABC.
It's the Davenport Family Scholarship. Well, here's what's important, Drew. When we started it, we had very, very low expectations. We didn't know. It will probably approach being an endowed scholarship long after I and Doug Davenport have coached there for those managers. We will live off the endowment for many, many years to come. And I think it's a credit to this community and how much they admire basketball, how their knowledge of how important managers are. The donations we receive, the people that come and bid, but they have fun doing it.
That's what matters.
It is a heck of a night. It is. It's one for the ages.
I would love to come check that out.
It is. You'll get hooked. It's crazy. I'm telling you, it is. What goes on that night when we get people in there having fun? We have the auctioneer for our live auction items. It comes from Keeneland for the horse racing sales. But what we do, we bring in 3 national media people, and they handicap the races. So people are there to get winners, and they're going to go
Yeah.
bet them the next 3 minutes. So it's a handicapping night, putting contest, bourbon tasting, live auction items, silent auction items. I'll give you another item. November 18th, Bellarmine plays this year at Notre Dame. We had a private jet donated, and there'll be 8 guys fly up for that game and back. They're leaving at 3, and we'll probably return. They're going to return immediately after the game up to South Bend and back. They got donated an 8-seat jet. This is
That's fun.
yeah. And the Mike Brays of the world. Coach, okay, let me give you another item. 2 years ago, Wingfoot, the world-renowned golf course in New York. 7 guys, lunch, off, dinner with Rick Pitino for play 18 holes of golf at Wingfoot.
How much that go for?
I'm not going to say.
Say that it cost an arm and a leg.
It's the second highest item we've ever had.
That's awesome. But
Man.
for guys like Whit Pitino to do that, he
And we-
respects you and has a great relationship. For them to do that, for Mike
Well-
Bray to take that call.
It's amazing. Now, I knew Mike Bray when I was a high school coach, and he was coaching at the Citadel, so it goes way back. I mean, it does. You know, you all, Josh, you kept bringing up relationships. This is what happens. And when I say luckiest coach ever, this is kind of what you do. I mean, you just say, well, how did this happen?
It just happens.
I mean, it is. It's the one idea in this book that's unique is throughout the book, I write letters. Like I wrote my dad a letter, and it's very difficult to do. He died 1:15 on Halloween Day, 15 feet from me of a massive heart attack. I mean, he never saw me do anything. And I will go through this book and write letters to people. The other thing I do, I've reached out to people. I have a 5x8 card, just like this, a 5x8 card. And all through my life, I've got people who are writing little anecdotes. I don't tell them. I say, just give me, they'll edit it, but just give me a little something. They are the funniest things you've ever read. I mean, write things. A junior high teammate wrote, Pee Wee Reese, Hall of Fame baseball player, in a junior high basketball game, was there to see a nephew play. And he came in our locker room. And I didn't even put on my game shorts. I ran to Pee Wee Reese in my underwear to get his autograph because he was Pee Wee Reese. And the guy wrote that. I said, yeah, I'm not going to put that in the book. He goes, yes, you are.
You got to. You have no
He
choice.
goes, but his point was, that's how obsessed I was in sports. He goes,
Right.
you got underwear on. You got Pee Wee Reese's autograph. But we're doing these things to try. My target, this woman is got sponsorships for the book. And she said, I said, Carol, people want to know what's in it for me. And here was what I told her my vision was. If you take the city of Indianapolis and you kind of go east, let's go say to Cincinnati, and you go to Lexington, you go to Evansville, you kind of got a big diamond with Louisville in the middle. She goes, yeah. I said, well, I would like 5 books in every high school locker room. She goes, what? I said, I want a high school kid to pick it up and say, wow, here's a guy that didn't play in the NBA. And he lost his dad. And he didn't get a scholarship, but he did okay. And she goes, wow. And so there's a plan always to help people, period. Because so many people help me. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, and I feel like that's our job as
Comes back
humans.
to it.
Yeah, we're here to lift people up. Like I want to leave this world in a better spot than what I found it. And just as basketball, I do commentating. I do all the high school basketball, football, baseball games around here. And I always try to uplift the talent and make sure I make everybody sound good. Even maybe I might not necessarily believe that this person's a Division I talent, but I'm also like, hey man, this guy can really score the basketball. He's multifaceted. He has Division I level talent. I just try to make sure I can uplift people, and people love that. And that's why I love that about you, my friend. But
I look forward to your book and for more people to see your story, and we'll have you back on during that process. But we're super grateful and appreciative to have you on here today with us, Coach.
Thank
we
you,
appreciate
Coach.
you so much.
Guys, I had more fun than anybody here. Thank you all.